The first one is my homemade granola recipe, and the second is going to be a peanut butter and jelly yogurt bowl that I put the granola on. So you get a two for today. For the granola, you're going to need honey, coconut oil, vanilla, maple syrup, sea salt, and rolled or quick oats. You can also use old-fashioned. And then for the peanut butter and jelly bowl, it's going to be non-fat, plain Greek yogurt, peanut butter powder, and I'll explain that when we get to it, or you can use regular peanut butter or any nut butter you choose, fresh raspberries, and sliced almonds also go in the granola as well. So at the end of the video, the whole recipe will be posted with, the amounts and whatnot, all of that will be included. So to start the granola, first you need a baking sheet that's covered in parchment paper, and you're going to preheat your oven to 300 degrees. So that's the first step. Next, we're going to put all the wet ingredients in a small bowl. So I'm going to start with the honey. And this honey I actually got from somebody in my neighborhood. Has hives and whatnot, so it's so good when you get it fresh like that. The coconut oil is melted. It was pretty solid when I put it in here. All you have to do is toss it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and that's enough to melt it. Vanilla. And the the maple syrup. I got more on the counter than I did in the bowl. All right, and then about a quarter teaspoon of sea salt. So that's just a couple cranks. All right, now I'm going to whisk this together. Okay, now in this bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of the oats. And the good thing about this is you can add any other additional mix-ins or add-ins you have. Sometimes to this, I'll also add shredded coconut. If I want some coconut, I put chia seeds or pumpkin seeds as well. It's one of those recipes you can kind of add whatever you have on hand, which, if you haven't noticed already, that's a theme of mine. I like to keep everything, mix it up, whatever you happen to have and can use up. All right, now 1.5 cups of the slivered almonds. And let me grab a spatula. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. And this is a good one because I remember when granola first became popular, and, I was buying it and eating it by the bagfuls, and I'm like, oh, this is health food, but the store-bought kind tends to have a lot of fat and sugar added into it because, a lot of times they have chocolate chips and, dried fruit, and which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you're eating large amounts of it, that can add up pretty fast. And also a lot of fat. And even though it's healthy fats from, nuts and whatnot, again, it's still a lot, and it's hard to just eat a little bit. I know I can. I would eat it by the fistful. All right, so I'm just going to add the wet ingredients in. I'm going to go ahead and stir this all together. You want to make sure you stir it really good to get it all wet. And you do bake this pretty low. It's only on 300. So you're going to let it bake for about 20 minutes. And then halfway through, or after 20 minutes, you're going to rotate the pan and cook for probably another 10 to 15 minutes. You kind of want to look to see, when it starts to get brown. And when you take it out, it's not going to harden right away. You have to let it cool to get hard. And then you can either crumble it up as fine as you want. I like it in big chunks. So you can kind of, break it up however you like. And this will stay fresh in an airtight container for about 2 weeks. Now, here's the thing. When I make it, this number lasts 2 weeks, so I can't really be sure if that's true. This usually goes pretty fast around here. So you're just going to want to press it down with the spatula and flatten it out a bit. The flatter the layer you could get, the easier it's going to be to get this to crunch up, because it's going to give it some more space. Okay, and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go pop this in the oven, and then I will be back when this is done, and then I'm going to show you how to make the peanut butter and jelly yogurt bowl. Okay, so hang tight, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with the granola. So this actually took about 45 minutes, and you'll see it's nice and brown on top. And then I let it set for about another 15 to crisp it up, because when I first took it out of the oven, it was still a little soft, but the longer you let it sit, the crunchier it's going to get. And this time I brought back, this is my sous chef, Evie. This is my daughter. And this is another reason I like to keep my recipes as simple as I do. This way you could get the kids involved. You know, you can give them things that are age appropriate for them to work on while you're cooking in the kitchen. You know, maybe have them chop some vegetables, you know, wash some things. There's a lot of things that they could do to help out. So she's actually going to crumble up the granola for me while I show you how to make the peanut butter and jelly yogurt bowl. Okay, so you can also use, just don't do it too hard. Okay, so for the peanut butter and jelly yogurt bowl, you're going to need 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt. And this one is perfect for the granola on top. You know, I like yogurt bowls. I love smoothie bowls. I love smoothie bowls also, but sometimes I just need a little bit of crunch on top. And this is where the granola comes in handy. All right. Probably should have grabbed a bigger spoon to do this.
Yes.
All right, and you could use any berry you like. I'm using raspberries just because that's one of my favorites. You could also use strawberries, blueberries, anything that's mashable. All right, so I'm going to add the yogurt to the bowl.
Can you do bananas?
Or bananas, good point. Evie said bananas. Bananas are good as well. All right, and then I'm going to add, I talked about this earlier, the peanut butter powder. So what this is, it's powdered peanuts. What they do is they take the peanuts, they smash all the oil out of them and grind it into a powder, and you basically reconstitute it with water. You can add this to water and make like a peanut butter, and it has a lot less fat in it and a ton of protein. There's like 8 grams in 2 tablespoons. It's also good in smoothies, and if you're adding it to smoothies or like the yogurt, you don't have to mix it with the water. The liquid with whatever you're mixing it for is going to be perfect.
So like milk?
Yeah, you could do milk also. All right, so I'm going to sprinkle in 2 tablespoons. And this is also good for thickening things up as well. You know, when I make smoothies, I don't like using ice because I think it thins it out. So I like to use the fruit that I'm adding, especially bananas, as frozen. This way it kind of makes it a thicker smoothie. And this peanut butter powder does the same thing. And I use this stuff so much. I mean, look at the size of the container I keep on hand, and that only lasts a few weeks. I also like to add it just to yogurt like this and use it as a fruit dip. I'll dip apples in here. I've added it to ice cream. That's okay. I've added it on top of ice cream, you know, just make it nice and creamy. Okay, so this is mixed together, so I have the peanut butter part of the bowl. And then what I'm going to do, it's about a 1/4 cup of raspberries, what I usually use. But what I'll do is I mash a few of them first just to make them a little saucy. Just kind of like, you know, that's kind of the jelly portion. So you see, I'll just take the back of a fork and mash it up. And I will add that to the top. Okay, and then I'll add a couple of whole raspberries as well.
Okay.
Just to give it some different textures. Okay, and then about 2 teaspoons of honey. And you don't need a lot. And you can either mix it into the yogurt. I like to drizzle it on top just because this way I get bites of honey throughout. So I'm a drizzler. Same with peanut butter. I don't mix peanut butter and things usually. I love to drizzle them. Okay. So I hear crunching behind me. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this granola tastes good. All right, so I'm just going to take a handful and sprinkle it on top. Okay, maybe 2 handfuls because it is really good. Okay, and there you go. That is my peanut butter and jelly yogurt bowl. Usually it looks a little prettier, but you know, we're in a time crunch. So I hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, feel free to reach out, leave me a comment, or shoot me an email. Okay, thanks. Hope you enjoy.
Bye.